Wow, I'm live now. Is there anybody here with me? To everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are watching me from. I'm Shakira Oshinlaja Olukun. I'm an emotional intelligence practitioner and also a certified emotional intelligence coach. I also help you raise children who are emotionally healthy from a place of calm, peace, and what and tranquility. One of the things that we do at the TP Parenting Academy is for us to help you as a parent on learn on healthy parenting pattern. So I'm the founder of the TP Parenting Academy and I'm also the lead coach at the TP Parenting Academy. Currently, you're watching me from either of these three platforms, from our TP Facebook group, or you're watching from our TP Facebook page, or you're watching from our TP Parenting YouTube page. Either place that you're watching us from, I welcome you to this session this afternoon. And today's topic is 10 things you should know about toddlers discipline. 10 things you should know about toddlers discipline. Parents of this day, we all want our children to be disciplined adults, want them to grow up to be responsible adults. So we take the word discipline so much to heart that sometimes we also end up disciplining our child, our toddler, especially in inappropriate ways. So one thing that we must know is that toddler is who is a toddler? Toddler is a child between the ages of 1 to 3 year old. So if your child falls within that category of age, they are referred to as toddlers. Though this particular session is dedicated to parents of toddlers, but I need to also mention the fact that if you're raising preschoolers, that is children between the ages of 3 and 7 year old, you are going to find this session also useful to your parenting journey. So join me as we ride on today's session to discuss 10 things you need to know before you discipline your toddler or your preschooler. So the first thing that you must know about toddlers is that toddlers are young, very young beings that are still trying to learn their world. They are trying to know about how the world works, and also they are trying to put things in perspective. They are very eccentric in nature, but if you know how to deal with them, you're going to enjoy dealing with toddlers so much. The first thing that your toddler should know when you're trying to discipline your toddler is that they remember most the things that you instruct them last. So if you're trying to instruct your toddler, make sure that what you keep your instruction simple and sweet. Make it simple and sweet. What I mean by simple and sweet is that don't just talk like leave that place, leave that place. If you're trying to instruct your toddlers to do something, make sure you keep your instructions simple. If it's not simple, they are not going to get it. And believe me, one of the things that they remember last or most is the word that you said last. So if you are trying to give your toddler instruction, if it is not simple, oh, I want you to stop jumping. I want you to sit down. Legs are meant for what? For walking. Hands are meant for eating, not for slapping. Yelling at them, screaming at them, or scaring them would actually make them more fearful at instruction, and it seems as if you're just shouting at them, not instructing them. So the same way we as adults, when somebody yells at us or scream at us or is speaking at the top of their voices and we don't hear them, the same way it's with our toddlers. They hardly hear us when we're just screaming at them, yelling at them, us trying to scare them. So understand that I mentioned the first thing is for you to know that what keep your instruction sweet and simple. The second thing that you must also know about toddler is that be specific about your instruction. If you're trying to discipline your toddler, be specific. I forgot to mention that many of us we used to believe that discipline is about what force somebody to do something, about controlling somebody. But what knowledge has come to make us understand is that discipline is about teaching your child, it's about nurturing your child, it's about educating your child on age appropriate means, using the age appropriate developmental milestone and knowledge to set them right, to expect of them, to set boundaries, to become that safe space for them. So if you have your child that is a toddler between the ages of 1 and 3, they hardly have the capacity yet to manage their emotions, to control their impulse, to express themselves. So it is our duty and responsibility as the parents or adults to be that safe space for them to be themselves without hurting themselves or other people. So if you're trying to instruct your toddler, or you're trying to set them right to do something, make sure you keep your instructions specific. You tell your toddler what you want to see, not what you don't want to see. Yes. Tell them what you intend to see, not what you don't want to see. We often make that mistake as parents. We end up telling our toddlers the behavior we don't want them to see. For example, if your toddler is running and you want to stop them from running, you shout, "Stop running, stop running, stop running." What's the behavior you want to see? You want to see your child walking. Instead of you saying, "Stop running, stop running, stop running," tell them, "Walk. I need you to walk, walk, walk." That way, because your toddler at that stage, their brain cannot process the negative. They process more in the positive. In fact, it's all human brains. We understand things more in the positive than in the negative. So if you want your child to listen to you, your toddler especially, make your instructions in the positive and be specific about the behavior that you want to see or what you don't want to see. The third thing that you must know about toddlers discipline, I can't see anybody live. I don't know if it's my network or if you're on the group, you can hear me. I'd like to read your comments. If you're watching me from our Facebook group, I'd like to read your comments. If you're from our YouTube channel too, I'd like to read your comments. Just drop them in. I'll be glad to respond to them or read them. As at now, I can't see any. I don't know if it's the network or if it's from my end. I don't know what's happening, but I hope to read your comments. So the third thing that you must know about toddler discipline is that what toddlers are people that when they get tired easily, they get frustrated easily when they're not trying when they're trying new things. They get exhausted easily. So as a parent, you need to anticipate their pattern of behavior, anticipate how they respond to hunger, how they respond to crowded situation, how they respond to new places. Because we humans generally, we have our way of responding in situations. If you're going to a new place that you have not been before for the first time, there's a way you are going to carry yourself. There's this courage that you give yourself. If you're in an environment where you are used to people there's a way you speak. You don't expect to speak with your family as if you are speaking with an audience they have never met before. So try to anticipate, how does your child respond to strangers? How do they respond when they are tired, when they are hungry? Part of the things that I noticed for my own son while he was still a toddler, and even up to this moment, is that when he's hungry, he tends to behave inappropriately, he tends to start nagging, complaining, and for me to be able to stop that behavior, I need to anticipate that, okay, when last day hits, if he's hungry now, he would not give me any peace. He will start misbehaving. Even though he have the mouth to express that he's hungry, but because he does not have the body capacity yet to control or to understand that it takes some time, sometimes food will not get ready when you plan to have them ready. So as a parent, we owe it to our child or our toddler especially to anticipate their pattern of behavior. Why do your child cry? One of the mistake I made while raising my son was that whenever he goes to the barber to have his haircut, would usually cry because of the sound that comes from the barbing from the clipper. And then I will usually get angry. But it took me knowledge to know that my son has sensory need because the noise from that machine triggers him. It doesn't make him comfortable. So I had to learn a way to help him deal with that by creating a safe place for him, instead of getting angry at him while he's crying. And I see many parents also make these mistakes. Our child, when we are going to a place, maybe we go to a particular party, and there is this noise there. If you're living in Nigeria, you understand what I mean. There is this noise from the environment, and your child is constantly crying in a party, especially, and you're like, "Are you the only one? You're the only one that you're always crying." The way the way people nag, we label children, especially when they are trying to walk around with their parents. Try and observe and prevent that. When you observe the pattern and anticipate them, it's easier for you to remove those triggers from your child. So they tend to behave better because one, they don't have the words to express themselves very well yet. So we need to create that space for them by helping them think through our own observation of their behavior and patterns to make them behave better. The fourth thing that you must also know when it comes to toddler is that it's easier and it's more effective for you to connect with them before you try to correct their behavior. Connect with your child before you try to correct their behavior. And how do you do that? You're trying to correct a behavior of your child. Maybe you see them eating a toddler, their mate, a friend. Instead of you trying to just say, come on, stop that, apologize. Don't ask a child to apologize. Don't force them to apologize. Connect with them. I need you to, well, what do you think? What do you think your friend is feeling now? So do you have eaten your friend and is crying already? Are you happy that it's crying? If that was done to you, what do you think? Or you just give the child, I can see that you are not regulated and I can see that you are going through a lot of emotions now. I'll take you away from the situation. Connect with them. That way it's easier for you to correct them. Can you now say sorry to your friend? Can you now say, will you be willing to say sorry to your friend now? Sometimes the child will say, no, I'm not saying sorry. Don't take it personally. Give them the time to think through what they have done and then give them that space to come back to correct their wrong. And then the next thing that you should also know is that concerning that connecting with your child, you need to know that what most times when you see a child misbehaving, know that is a form of communication of need because every behavior that you see your child exhibits is a communication. And the more you can see misbehavior in that lens, the better for you to help your child correct that behavior. But the moment you just see focusing on that behavior, why not understanding the need behind that behavior? Because the need is beneath that behavior. You can only see the behavior you see is just an iceberg. When you focus on the need, what is my child trying to meet? For example, you see a child just jumping around in the house, jumping all around the house, and you're like, stop doing that, and your child still continues to do that. Instead of you getting angry at your child for not listening to you, think in terms of what need is my child trying to fulfill. Because as humans, we all have needs that we are trying to meet every day and every point in time. So ask your child, what need is it? Think for your child. What need is this child trying to meet at this point? Then provide that need for them in another space. If you don't feel comfortable with them jumping on your bed, for example, on the couch, can you provide another alternative for them to explore and meet that need? Because if they don't have that need met, they are going to continue to misbehave. Even if they stop jumping on the couch or on the bed for this moment, they will move to the next thing, and you continue to repeat that yourself, repeating the cycle, complaining and nagging without any change in behavior. So understand that what connecting to correct misbehavior need requires that you think beyond the behavior and see the need beneath that behavior. And the fifth thing that you should know when it comes to toddler discipline is that what sometimes you should know that what in fact oftentimes the misbehavior that we see in our kids, toddlers especially and preschooler, is a communication of a missing skill. Yes, a child is missing a skill. And you need to think in terms of how can I replace or teach them that skill. Your child, for example, your toddler is trying to maybe feed themselves and they mess the floor, or you're telling them to not take the water. They're saying, I can take the water myself. You know the way toddlers can be. I want to do it myself. I can do it myself. Don't do it for me. And they end up messing everywhere. I used to be guilty of that. Then I would get angry at my son and I would just eat him. I told you to leave that cup. And yet, what did I miss in that opportunity? In that moment, I missed the opportunity to teach my child how to clean their mess, how to what correct something when something happened in the way we don't expect them. So part of growing up, or part of being a toddler, or part of being being human generally, is that we're going to make mistakes. So a toddler trying to feed themselves and point things away, despite you warning them or trying to show them that you want to help them, is a normal behavior, is an age appropriate behavior. But how do I help my child become better? By teaching them how to do it. Okay, when you make a mess by pouring water away, you take the rag, you clean it. When you make mistakes by what? By writing wrongly or by cutting something, you try and fix it back. So you teach your child the skill that is missing. It can be emotions. It could be that your child is just crying. Maybe he's playing with his friends and he's not getting his way. He's like not trying to wait for turn and he end up eating somebody else. It doesn't mean that you're a bad parent. It doesn't mean that you're always eating that child at home because the child does not have anything to have a vocabulary to express themselves. The only way to vet out their need is that what's by eating the next child. So you owe it to your child to teach them that skill. Okay, what can you do when you find yourself angry at your friend? You can just walk away, you can do this, you can talk to mommy, you can call on mommy, and like that. You might think that your child is too small. Are you telling me to do this to toddlers? Yes, continue to do it to them. Continue to teach them how to do it. Continue to teach them how to do it, and they are eventually going to own up to it. They're eventually going to learn how to do that. But if you don't teach them how to do it and you just assume that they are still very young, You're not giving them the opportunity to tap into that part of their brain. Instead of trying to teach and correct a child by just yelling at them or getting angry or frustrated at them, it can be frustrating. I admit to that. But know that your child need a skill. A skill is missing, and you need to teach them or to equip them with that, replace that particular misbehavior with a missing skill. So the next thing, the six things that you should know, the sixth thing that you should know about what disciplining your toddler or when you want to discipline your child is for you to have a lot of replay or redo. Yes, try a lot of redo. Your child that is making mistake, give them the opportunity to redo that behavior, that mistake in the right way. Because one thing about the brain is that the way the brain works is that the more you repeat a particular behavior, the positive one especially, the better you are strengthening the part of that brain that, that is responsible for building that skill. I'll say that again. I can see one person live now. Thank you for joining me. Please drop comments and let me know where you're watching us from in the part of the world. So, like I was saying earlier on, that the sixth thing that you should know is that what you need to give your child the opportunity to redo what they have done wrong. If your child, for one, is making a mistake by what maybe yell at you, don't get angry and say you are being rude, you are being bad. No, give your child the opportunity. How I said, Mommy, I want food. He gets angry, and I'll talk to him. You know, I will not listen to you. You need to tell me that in an appropriate manner. And he's going to repeat that, Mommy, I'm sorry. Mommy, I'm hungry. Can I have my food? Yes. What I have done there, you might think there is nothing to eat, but it doesn't replace the fact that he has already been rude in the first place. Yes, it does not replace that fact, but it's also helping the child to build that part of the brain that makes them think well and act right. So the more you give them the opportunity to do it right, the better they become. So if the child is doing something wrongly, have them redo. Say thank you very much, Alaikum Salam Salam Barakatuh. Thank you very much. We often lose our cool as a parent that what again? I corrected you yesterday, I'm still correcting you again today. And we lose our cool and get angry at the kid and we end up beating them, yelling at them or hitting them. Know that's what the part of the brain, the more the neurons and repeat particular behavior, more they are ingrained, that part of the brain is strengthened. That neuron of that particular part of the brain becomes strengthened. And when it is strengthened, it becomes difficult for them to what? To go back. So if, for example, the experience you're giving your child is always yelling at them when they misbehave, beating them when they misbehave, their brain is going to continue to record it. And that part of the brain will continue to get strengthened. And when you now talk to them coolly, they're not going to find it easy to listen to you because the only way they have known is through yelling. Mommy will yell. When mommy yell, that's when mommy means business. Mommy have not screamed. When she screamed, that's when she means business. So when parents come to me and complain that you say we should not beat them, but I talk calmly, and I ask the parents, how did you talk calmly? Show ni kúrò ńbẹ̀ yẹn. Bọ́kọ́ mo bá sọ̀rọ̀, And I found out that many times because we cannot hold our cool, we don't know how to show up with our calm, a calm that is what that speaks volume more than you shouting or hitting your child. So the seventh thing that you should know when you're trying to discipline your toddler is for you to know that your toddler work best with modeling. In fact, all humans do that because but the toddlers especially have been set to what to mimic us a lot. Toddlers mimic a lot. They work. It's the best kind of discipline that you can give them is to model to them. I will use an example. When my son was still a toddler, and he's doing things that are frustrating to me, like pouring water away, walking around in the house, just missing my book, taking my book and writing rubbish in my notes. Then I'll get really frustrated. I don't want to beat him sometimes, and I'll just ease up. And I find my son doing exactly the same thing. Maybe he's looking for his toy or he's trying to fix his puzzle and he's not getting it. We'll just ease. Because over time, he has seen his mom always easing when things do not go away. So understand that what modeling will work for your child, your toddler effectively than you screaming at them, yelling at them, or shouting at them. So model to them the behavior you want to see. We say this often, but we find it difficult to practice. So please model to your toddler. You want to do that to apologize when they make mistakes, when your emotion is when you're not regulated. Hug them too when they are not regulated. And I found this work very well for my own son. When he was still a toddler and he was getting angry, without me saying sorry, just a mere hug would calm him down. And I would find him also come to me when I'm angry. Maybe I'm angry at something in the house, maybe at his older brother, will come to me and come and say, Mom, it's okay. Mom, sorry, yeah. I'm sorry, yeah. Your child will do the same to you. So the Bible wants to give to your child. If you want your child to be empathetic, compassionate, and apologize for their mistakes, also make sure you apologize for your mistakes. Don't force them. Nobody love to be forced to do anything. You when you continue to force your toddler to do things because you think that that thing is the right thing to do, they are going to become hypocrites. They're going to what? Learn to what? To camouflage. They're going to mask their behavior for you without showing their real self. So the best way to prevent this by modeling effective behavior and positive toddler discipline is that what? Mention more or comment more, focus more when our kids are making mistakes, praise them when we catch them doing positive things. So the only thing you complain about is their negative behavior. Say that's how you pour water away yesterday, Abi. Let me see in that room again. It's what I'll do to you. You are going inside again. The toddler is walking there. It's walking kulu kulu kulu. It's trying. It's walking there. It's walking kulu kulu kulu. It's trying to do something that is not right. So you want to do that to your child. What's going here? Okay, I'm back again. Thank you. So and you're like, your toddler is going to that place again, and the child is looking at you, and it's going again. And you're like, again, you are going there again. Go there. I'm going to use today. You see what I'll do to you today, and you end up showing that child that the only thing that you notice is their negative behavior because your child is now using that negative behavior to call your attention. I used to be guilty of that when my son was still very young, age 2, 3 plus. He would always go to the socket and press it, would go to extension, charger, would put everything together. And I was coming from a place of fear. Makoba me, don't wound me, this child. And I would go to the child, yeah, yeah, come here for me. If I see you there, I'll beat you. People who are around me will tell me, Egba lowo, bati gba lowo, kò ní lọ síbẹ̀ mọ́. And I will continue to eat the child on their hand. Eat the child, my child will still go there. Little did I know that because I was paying attention to him when he goes to do the things that I don't want, he has seen that means as an avenue to get my attention. So instead of focusing when your child misbehave, focus more when you catch them doing good things. You see them sharing their books and maybe one of your family values. You comment on them. Wow, I can see that you're sharing with your friend. That's so good of you, mashallah. Can you give me a hug? You hug them. You see them doing something that is right or arranging something in the house. Wow, that's so lovely of you. When you praise your child, your toddler especially, your preschooler, they tend to want to manifest that behavior. And it's one of the things I tell teachers in school too. You see a child that does not do the assignments, a child that comes to school with long nails as young as toddler and preschooler, and some school will end up beating them. Are they the one that are going to take care of themselves? These are the ways that we are found guilty as school owners and parents. So they beat that child today, they beat the child tomorrow. You're like, and when I beat them, they're going to tell their parents at home, and their parents will teach them. And that's the parent. The parent has gone out since morning. She's back in the night. She has even forgotten. And we continue to do that. Instead of doing that, why not give them positive reinforcement by focusing on those that have done it right by praising them. That way your child will want to what? Will want to receive your praise tomorrow. The students will want to receive your praise tomorrow and they will remind their parents. My son is always doing that for me when I forget because his nail is very long, gets very long easily. In 1 week, if I did not cut his nail within 1 week, the next following week is very long. So when I forget to do that to him, if he goes to school, one of the things that they do in their schools that they use positive reinforcement, they will praise those that have done it, and it will come on me. My auntie did not praise me. My auntie did not tell me bo today. Did not tell me moaz. They did not sing superstar for me today because I did not do this. That way, your child wants because children generally they are inclined towards positivity. They are inherently good. until we start labeling them as bad. Nobody is created bad. Of course, we have, as Muslims especially, believe that what we have that good and bad in us. Allah also says in the Quran that what Manafsi Masawa has created the nerves with what with evil and goodness. But the more you give them opportunity to practice that goodness, the more they bring it to you. So please make sure you focus more and catch your child when they are doing positive thing by praising them more on that positive thing to see you by reinforcing that behavior. That way they get to what practice it again and repeat that behavior just to get your reinforcement. So the ninth thing that you should know about effective toddler discipline is that what don't take things personally. Yes, I used to be guilty of that myself too. My son is already doing something that is wrong, or we are in a public, for example, and he's just crying over something that he wants to buy. Mommy, I want to buy ice cream, and he's crying and throwing tantrum. And I'll be like, I'm already thinking about myself. Clown my son by me. More badgy. And there is this quote that this Yoruba adage, and my grandma would always say them that money for those that don't understand Yoruba, I will try and translate in my little way. She will say that what wọ́n ní ta ló lọmọ tó gbọ̀n yìí ojú ń tì ìyá ẹ̀ láti jáde à ń bọ́ lè tà sí i ta ló lọmọ tó ọmọ yìí ṣe wá gbọ̀ báyìí. So it means that what they are asking you in a gathering that what who owns this child that is so wise, and you are like ashamed that are they deceiving me? Talk less of when they now ask you that who has this child that is so foolish. So it means that what many times we see our child's behavior as a reflection of who we are. We take things personally. We see their behavior. We translate their behavior to us being bad. We translate their behavior to what people say about me. The moment you find yourself constantly worrying about what people will say about you in the lens of your child's behavior, you need to check yourself. You need to think, why are you thinking that way? Why do you come to that conclusion? So don't take things personally. You're asking your child to apologize for hurting somebody. Don't take it personally when they're not willing to apologize. Don't assume or don't think that what your child is the sacrifice that you have to make for people for them to believe that you're parenting right. Nobody is immune to what to misbehavior. Even those of us that are doing the coaching, we have our children they are just children like normal children. They're going to misbehave, they're going to make mistakes. So we find ourselves more in a situation whereby what we need to be careful not to make people judge us as a result of our child's behavior. So learn to separate a child's behavior from who you are. That way you are more able to parent in a grounded manner. You are parenting from a place of what? Of self-esteem, of high self-esteem and audacity yourself, knowing that what your child's behavior is not a reflection of who you are. So and the 10th thing that you need to know about toddler discipline is that what? You have to be consistent. No matter how much you try to practice what I've said earlier, the 9 things that I've mentioned earlier on, if you are not consistent, you find yourself constantly repeating yourself. You find yourself constantly repeating circles and patterns that are not healthy to your parenting journey. So if you want your child you want to give your child that strong foundation, that healthy foundation, that they will not need to repair themselves tomorrow, and they will not need to struggle the way many of us are struggling now. You need to intentionally what discipline them in a brain friendly manner and a soul friendly manner. Don't discipline your child in a way that it affects their self-esteem, it affects them, and it makes them lost sense of self. So be consistent with your approach. You're trying to stop yelling at your child, stop beating your child. You're trying to discipline them effectively without you being punitive. You need to be consistent. You make mistake, apologize and try again. Be consistent and try. Another thing you can do to hold yourself consistent is to find an accountability partner or group that will hold you accountable to your goals. Set parenting goals, have your value and vision written, have your mission statement written as a family, and follow through with it. Have somebody to hold you accountable. And that's one of the things that we as a community do at the TP Parenting Academy. We have programs that make you hold yourself. You set your goals, your parenting goals, the things you want to see in yourself, the values you want to see in your child, the qualities you want to see in them, and that values you walk around them by trying to live them day in, day out. Is it going to come easily for you? No. And that's where we come in. We help you see the better future. We help you see beyond the moment. We help you hold you accountable day-to-day activities that will make you walk towards your goal, towards achieving them. So if you think you need help to set your family goals, family value, family vision, and mission statement, you can reach out to us and we get started. to help you create that family or that goal that you have always wanted to create. You have always wanted to say, I don't want to beat my child. I don't want to do this. I don't want to continue yelling at them. But you find it difficult to practice. Having an accountability session will hold you. Part of the things that I used to unlearn yelling at my child was to pay for a course that helped me unlearn that habit. Part of what I did to help me stop beating my child was to create a course. After I practiced no yelling, I had to what also try to practice no beating. Sorry, I started from no beating and I found myself yelling often. So if you find yourself yelling often at a child, I have to say, okay, I think I need to what to unlearn this yelling because I've stopped eating them. I start yelling at them. So I had to pay. I enrolled for course, and that helped me stop yelling at my child, except when necessary, maybe during emergency, and then we are good to go. So having an accountability partner will help your group, will help you stay grounded with your goals and stay focused. So you don't get distracted when people say, I come back on my journey, I can tell more I can shake. You are more grounded. One, you have the knowledge that it takes to raise children who are healthy, emotionally, psychologically. Two, you have that group that you can learn from people. When you see people change their stories, you can learn that what these battles you're fighting about parenting, about tantrum, you are not alone. Three, you can also see that what you have people that what maybe that their faith like you are like-minded. You have values, you have vision that you're working around. You're not just doing things like the typical parents would do it. Babe, oh, me only work, I can't come and kill myself. Yes, you can't come and kill yourself, but at the end of the day, you're still going to die. That's the truth. So it's better that you die over good thing, over positivity, over making efforts to make your children better, than for you to die over what nonchalant attitude, like I don't care, carefree attitude with your parenting journey. So it's not about the price, it's about the choice. So if you think you need to join us in the parenting coaching session, normally we run the session, the yearly program, because we make it a mandatory yearly program, such that you can walk through us with us for 1 year. We can actually evaluate how far you have come. But we are still opening that slot now. If you want to join us for the rest of the year, a year program is 60,000 naira. But if you are willing to join us for the rest of the year, because we just have just September, October, November, and December, just 4 months to go, you can pay just 20,000 naira for that. That's 5,000 naira monthly. We are going to help you set goals, set your mission statement. That way, you don't just start parenting accidentally. You parent intentionally, know where you're going to, you know what you want for your children, you know what you want for yourself, and you set goals. So because parenting is something that we have to be intentional about. So for inquiries, you can reach out to me on my personal WhatsApp line and let's get started with you. I hope you have learned one or two things in this session. You can reach out to me on with questions if you have any question. If you don't have any question, just drop your comment, what you have learned, and let's just get started together. I look forward to seeing you again next week, inshallah. Do well to share this video with other people so they can watch. Tag somebody in this session so they can watch the session. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for joining. Bye. So if you want to inquire about the session that I mentioned, you can reach out to my contacts using that number that is under the slide. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.